Come on, you pe-
What's up, guys? So I made some wrench organizers so I can do a little bit more organization, and I'm actually going to use these for screwdrivers in my tool cart. It's Sunday, it's a day off, but I thought it'd be a good time to kind of talk about one thing that I've been noticing a lot on social media lately, at least on my social media, and that is that a lot of shops are struggling to find techs nowadays. And I thought I'd kind of just talk about, I don't know, why I think that is, just with my experience of, probably being at 20 shops in the past 3 years. So one reason is obviously pay, right? I don't think a lot of techs are making enough money nowadays with the cost of living, with the cost of tooling, with the cost of, training and the knowledge needed to work on these cars. And I don't think flat rate's going to be around for much longer. I think a big issue in this industry right now is flat rate. I think a lot of techs are kind of tired of flat rate, just because these cars are getting so intense, so technologically advanced, that it's hard to keep up with them. It's hard to, be at a shop that's willing to buy all the scan tools that you need to really work on a lot of these modern cars in a timely manner and be able to beat book time. And don't even get me started about dealerships, because working at a dealership's another story. I've worked at a couple, and dealerships are just, I don't ever want to go back to a dealership. It's nice to work on one brand, but all the downsides to it also really suck. I hate dealing with a bunch of shitty service writers, inexperienced service writers, people that know nothing about cars. That's my least favorite part, honestly. It's just dealing with a bunch of idiots all the time. And then warranty sucks. Why are techs getting punished because manufacturers can't build their cars properly the first time? And these car companies aren't really building these cars to last anymore. They're just building them to replace them. It's getting harder and harder to fix these cars. And it's a big deal. I think techs are just kind of tired of getting screwed by manufacturers and getting screwed by all this technology that's advancing, and the pay isn't increasing. The tooling that you need to fix these cars is getting more and more expensive, and you have to buy it more and more often, and you're not getting paid any more money. In my opinion, I think techs need to make at least $100,000 a year. And granted, that is dependent on the tech and his abilities and his skill sets, but I just think pay is the number one issue why a lot of these techs are leaving. They're tired of the flat rate system. They're tired of the flat rate mentality. They're tired of the politics and the drama that come with it, and they're just looking to get out. So also another big thing I think is just really shitty service, or really bad management. A lot of shops don't know how to run the business. They don't know how to manage their people. They don't know how to hire the right staff. And also too, it seems to be getting a lot bigger nowadays, but all these, groups on Facebook and YouTube and all that are trying to improve the industry are always talking about the owners need to be working on the business instead of working in the business, which I get to a point, right? I understand that when you're an owner, you're hiring people to do the work, and you're there to grow the business, increase profits, blah, blah, blah. But my experience in some of these shops I've worked at, a lot of these owners just don't come to work. They don't show up. They just hire people to run it. Most of the time, the people that are running the business, the service writers or the service managers, whatever you want to call them, depending on where you work, are inexperienced. They have no knowledge in cars. They have no knowledge in how to sell work. They're poor leaders. They don't know how to manage people. They don't know how to manage workflow. They can't communicate very well. And I don't know. It's one of those things that's a big deal. A lot of the shops that I've quit is mainly because of management. You know, if managers suck, if they don't do their job, if they constantly push their problems onto you, or they tell you that, you know, they're never gonna, or they tell you that they're, you know, working on a problem that you're having, but they never fix it, or nothing ever gets resolved because they're always, you know, caught up doing other stuff. I mean, it's just, it makes working at a shop very unenjoyable because you're constantly trying to babysit the manager who you shouldn't have to babysit. And that's another big reason I think techs aren't coming back to work. Another reason too, especially with a lot of these independent shops that are like struggling to find techs right now, my Facebook is just plastered with like videos of all these shop owners like saying, we're hiring techs, you know, A techs, B techs, we'll start you at this pay and blah, blah, blah. And they show the shop and the shop's disgusting. It's like, it's a mess. There's crap everywhere. Everything's covered in grease. It's dirty and grimy and the lighting sucks, and techs don't want to be grease monkeys anymore. You know, this industry needs to change, and I think techs are starting to see that you don't have to be a dirty grease monkey in order to do this job. And it sucks working in a disgusting shop that's just full of shit all the time. You know, techs want to have a nice space to be at because that's where they spend most of their day. That's where they spend 80% of their life is at work. And a lot of these shops don't get that. You know, they don't maintain their shops. They don't keep them clean. They don't organize them. They don't update any of the tooling or any of the lifts. It's a safety hazard. It's disgusting. It looks bad. You know, I'm embarrassed. If I work at like a really dirty, gross shop and like my buddy comes to get his car worked on or something, it's embarrassing for me, honestly, because the way that shop is maintained kind of reflects on me. And it kind of shows like what kind of tech I am. So if I work in a disgusting ass shop, a lot of people are just going to think that I'm kind of like a sleaze, or I don't care, I don't take pride in my work. And that's one thing that needs to change. If you have a disgusting shop, or it's dirty, or just a mess, like you need to clean it and organize it. Techs don't want to work in disgusting shops anymore. Which brings me to the other reason, which is service managers. Shops got to stop hiring just anybody off the street to be a service manager. I think a lot of these, now granted, what I'm about to say is controversial, but I think you need to be a tech before you become a service writer, because I think you need to understand cars better. I think you need to know your way around cars. I think you need to know why systems fail and what's needed to repair that system and why. Because a lot of these shop owners and managers are just hiring people that have no automotive experience at all. And they don't know anything about cars. So when a customer comes in and says like, hey, I need this clunk looked at on my car, they don't know to quiz the customer. They don't know to be like, well, what kind of clunk is it? Is it a metal clunk, a hard thud? When does the clunk happen? You know, how loud is it? How long has it been going on? Blah, blah, blah. A lot of these service writers are just like, oh, customer states there's a clunk. Customer states clunk on the repair order. And it makes the tech's life like a living hell, because now the tech has to try to go question the service writer and waste his time talking to the service writer who already doesn't know anything about the clunk. So now the service writer has to call a customer again and try to quiz him. And it's just a waste of the technician's time. Also, too, a lot of these service writers don't know how to communicate, and they also don't know how to like properly quote out jobs. You know, they go by book time. They think the book time labor rates are the Bible, and they're not. That's just a guide. It's a book. It's a labor time guide. So a lot of these cars that, you know, they don't understand that if you're replacing a condenser, that sure, it may say 2 hours to replace that condenser, but you also have to include time to do the evac recharge. You have to include time to sometimes refill the cooling system, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And granted, that is some stuff that the tech needs to tell the writer, but if you work on a lot of the same cars, you shouldn't have to do that. It should just be kind of something that the service writer should already know. And on top of that too, a lot of times when customers are like, okay, I need this part in this car, well, why? Like what happened to my car? The service writer can never answer it quite well. They don't know how to explain to them how the system works. So now they're relying on the technician to story out all their, diagnostic stuff so that they can explain to the service writer how the system works and why it's not working and blah, blah, blah. But that takes so much time away from the tech. The tech doesn't get paid to do all that. You know, we get paid to diagnose the car, tell them what's wrong, and move on to the next one. It's up to the service writer, in my opinion, to be able to tell the customer why that is failed, why it needs this part, and blah, blah, blah. So, I don't know. Also, another big one too is snacks. I know it sounds stupid, but the shop I work at now, they always have snacks here, and it's like the best thing that's ever happened. It's nice to just have snacks around, to be honest. They, I don't know, it kind of shows that the employer cares, you know, like, hey, here's a snack for you, you know. They just have a drawer full of snacks that you can kind of go help yourself to. And I like it. So in retrospect, I think that a lot of these shops are having a hard time finding technicians because, for one, they don't want to pay enough. Two, they don't maintain the business. They'd rather just hire people to take care of the business, which means the service writers suck, the techs suck, the customers typically suck, and they're always confused or they don't like the processes. Nobody takes care of their shops. You know, they're disgusting and greasy and full of old tools and lifts that haven't been serviced or checked for safety. And also too, techs want to learn. They want to keep progressing in this trade. The good techs that are hard to find, the ones that are really good at their job and take pride in their work, are also techs that want to learn the trade. They want to learn the new technology. They want to, you know, progress their skills and keep moving forward in this industry, get better at all these new cars, at all this new technology. And if you're a shop that refuses to pay for your tech to go to training, then I can honestly understand why that tech doesn't want to work for you. I can understand why you can't find techs, because a lot of techs want to keep learning and progressing, but it's not always up to the tech to constantly pay for all these training events or, you know, ask you to chip in. You know, if you want to improve on what your shop can do, you need to pay your techs to go to training. You need to pay for the training. You need to constantly be proactive with increasing everybody's skill sets. I don't know. That's my opinion. You know, I've worked at a lot of shops in the past couple of years, and I've seen a lot of things that I don't like and a lot of things I do like, and I was one of those techs that wanted to get out. I didn't want to work on cars anymore. I still kind of don't want to work on cars. I don't see myself doing this forever, just because, I don't know, it's just stressful. It's a lot to deal with on a day-to-day basis. But it's also a good job. You know, it takes care of my family and I make good money, but I just have those days where I hate working on cars. I hate dealing with people. I hate, you know, babysitting other people. Not as much here where I work at now, but just in the past. Yeah, so if you want to find good techs, you're going to need to pay more. You're going to need to maintain your shop, modernize it, pay them to go to training, keep them fed with snacks throughout the day, and just show them that you care. Like, stop treating them like employees and start treating them like their family, you know? They're not just there to make you money. They're also human beings. They have lives, they have families, they have interests and hobbies outside of work. Their whole life doesn't revolve around your shop. It's not their business, it's your business. They're just there to work and make you money and make them money at the end of the day. But you have to give them an incentive and a reason to want to come work for you. And offering them minimum pay and bogus benefits in a disgusting shop isn't going to do that. So you're going to have to up your game if you want to get the attention of more higher end, better technicians nowadays. You can't get away with having a two-bay, greasy, disgusting shop and pay them $60,000 a year. It's just not going to work anymore. Technicians know their worth now. Technology is advancing so much that we have to have more skill sets and more tooling in order to fix these cars, which just means that we're going to start demanding more pay. And we're going to demand better facilities to work on those cars. And my feeling is if the shops can't keep up with that, a lot of these independent shops that are just trying to scrape by and, charge a customer minimally for repairs, not pay their techs very much, don't supply benefits, have shitty shop equipment, they're going to be going out of business soon. And a lot of those techs are going to be looking for jobs. So I think, technician shortage may kind of start to ease up when a lot of these really shitty shops start to shut down. But until then, you're going to have to just improve your shop environment and improve your offerings for these techs. That's the only way you're going to get good techs. Or you're just going to keep hiring these deadbeat, shitty, I'm just here for a paycheck technicians that don't care, that shotgun parts at cars, don't want to advance, don't want to, keep their stuff clean, don't want to look like professional techs. They're just there for a paycheck. And at the end of the day, if you want to grow a business, increase a business, and produce a good service, you can't do that. You can't have techs like that. You got to have techs that care, take pride in what they do, that are organized and clean, and advance their skill sets, advance their knowledge every day. So, yeah, that's my opinion.